we thought that, how do we get international education to Mumbai, right? And to India. And that was the whole prerogative when we started our schools as well. So like you can see over here, we're situated in Mumbai and we're under the aegis of Atlas Skill Tech University. So we are a university, and when you do enroll with us for your undergraduate program, at the end of your 4-year course, you do get a BDes degree. Okay, so it's a Bachelor of Design degree that is awarded to you at the end of the 4-year program. Okay, like we're situated in Bombay, of course. I think everyone knows Bombay is a city that never sleeps. We're also the creative capital of the country, right? And you have the hustle, the bustle, everything in Mumbai, right? And that's what makes Mumbai more creative and makes Mumbai more the place to study. Of course, when you see the slide, you'll feel like, oh, am I going to be a student also that never sleeps? So no, we don't. We make sure that you get that balance of academics and of life and social life, of course, while you're studying at ISDI. You'll be seeing a little bit of a glimpse of that as well in the next few slides. Like you can see, we're also in curricular collaboration with Parsons. Now, Parsons is ranked world #1. Okay, I keep emphasizing this because it's very, very necessary for each student to know this, that when you're in curricular collaboration with a university like Parsons, you take their curriculum, you get their mentorship, and you bring that to Indian and Indian students, Indian markets and Indian students. And through that partnership, of course, we do award students an academic certification from Parsons as well. You also get to study that curriculum, which is contextualized to the Indian audience. So what students are studying right now in New York, you'd be studying in Mumbai. Okay, and there are many, many opportunities for you to learn from faculty that come from New York to Mumbai. You will also get an opportunity to transfer to Parsons. So there is scope of not only studying 2 years at ISDI and then 2 years at Parsons, but also completing a master's at Parsons if you're not interested in the transfers program. So a lot of progression opportunities and a lot of mentorship opportunities as well. You can see in the pictures as well, they're very approachable. They're a lot of fun when it comes to classroom sessions. So it's great learning from. It's always a pleasure when they come to campus, right? Because we learn a lot from them as well. We've benchmarked 7 undergraduate specializations. Now, this is benchmarked with industry needs from across the globe. Okay, these are 7 key specializations that we've put together when we realize that, this is what the industry actually needs at the end of their, at the end of the day. You need these particular skills, and this is what we've put together for students to choose from. Of course, the first year that you study at ISDI, that is your foundation year, which means that you complete you get an all-round approach of everything to do with design and a taster of each of these specializations, so that at the end of the first year, you can make an informed decision and choose one of them, right? We don't expect you to know right from the beginning what you need and what you want to study, but through that foundation, when you get an experience of each of these courses, you'd get a better idea into choosing which specialization you'd like to pursue for the next 3 years. Like I said again, we're situated in Mumbai at Bandra Kurla Complex. Now, BKC is, we call Bandra Kurla Complex BKC. BKC is the hub of everything corporate in the city, right? It is, I think the headquarters of the biggest companies are situated at BKC. And what happens is that it helps us interact with industry because we're so close to them. What happens is that we're able to call industry to see students, to see their work, to hire from us as well because of our close proximity, right? So, many times when you're on campus, you'd notice a lot of people in their suits and jackets, and some people coming in, t-shirts and jeans, because some of them are from corporate backgrounds and the others are from creative backgrounds also, of course. So you'd see a lot of them on campus, and you never know when you may get hired also, right from that situation and that point as well. So a lot of mentorship also happens on campus that way. These are just some pictures of the campus where we're very, very high tech and skill oriented. So you'd see a lot of 3D printers, you'd see a lot of different machinery and softwares that you can work on as well. Of course, you'll have a turf also. You'll see most of our students currently on the turf. We try and make it accessible only after class hours, but it's accessible to all throughout the day. We also have a multi-cuisine cafe, and one thing I want to say about this cafe is that we're one of the country's first contactless cafes, right? This means that there's zero contact with anyone and anything, right? You order your food online, you pay online, you get your food just from the counter and you pick it up. So there's not much interaction with a human figure. And that's also some sort of automation that we want to get students used to, right? Because that's what we're moving into. We're moving into the world of automation when it comes to the smallest things like cafes and the biggest things like other applications that we have. So that's an opportunity. We also have accommodation facilities for students who are coming from out of Mumbai. The accommodation is about 10 minutes away from the campus when it comes to distance and time. Of course, it's state of the art, right? You can see in the images, it's fully facilitated. You have your laundry services, you have your parking if you need a car, you have fully air conditioned, of course, and fridge, and all the basic necessities are there in the rooms and houses as well. So when any student wants to come down or wants to know more about the accommodation, they can of course get in touch with me or anyone at ISDI. And just speaking about the faculty, we felt that if you want someone to teach you, okay, as a faculty member, they need to come with that kind of experience as well, where they can impart some knowledge to the student. And it's not just about studying and explaining, right? We're not just about having a strong academic background, but when you're a faculty, you want to have a strong industry experience as well. So what happens is that when someone comes in from, say, a Google or a Vogue or any of the companies listed here, that they have that experience. That they know exactly how the industry functions, and this is exactly how you need to learn, right? Because what happens is that they give a completely different and a completely new perspective to the student on the same very topic, right? So I think that's very important to have that diverse background and that diversity in experience and not only education but also industry wise. So like I was saying, of course, we have a great student life. This is something that I feel very proud about and I feel very good about while talking. We have Inferno, which is Asia's first design festival, which is accessible to all. It's an access for all design festival. And so it's held every year. Every student is requested and of course encouraged to participate in this, because we don't want them only studying and completing projects, right? You also want them to have some fun. And not just Inferno, but also every year and throughout the years, we have a lot of opportunities for students to hold events and organize events as well through the student council and through various other bodies held by students and of course managed by students as well. And we have a lot of students coming from out of Mumbai and out of India too, so you get to have that kind of interaction with them as well. Just talking about the industry, like I mentioned, I was so close to industry. These are some faces that have come to ISDI, mentored students, seen their projects, and these are some of the recognizable faces, which is why I put them on the slide. And it's very interesting to see that kind of interaction happening with students. And of course, for international opportunities, I'm going to take 2 minutes more. So for international opportunities, depending on the time period, right, that you want to move, be it like a 2-week immersion, which is through a summer school or a global immersion, to a larger 6-month semester exchange at a partner university, to an even larger 2-year transfer opportunity, and then you move for your master's progression. So right at the end of your course. So there are multiple occasions and availabilities of having that international experience. Of course, we have faculty also that come down and teach at ISDI. So you'd get that whole all-round thing even if you don't choose one of these. And this is completely voluntary, even if you want to go. And some of the universities that students have been to And these are some universities we've signed MOUs with. These are agreements for progression. UAL being one of our most recent MOUs that we've signed, or agreements that we've signed, because UAL is again world number, it ranks between world number 1 and 3 with Parsons and another university across the globe. So I think that that kind of gives us the endorsement that we're going on the right track and our students are qualified to be a part of universities like that as well. Industry that comes down, these are again some of the top names that we have that come down to hire from ISDI. This is at the end of their course at the 4th year. You have Landor, you have, you can read the names, right? And again, top names from each of the industries that we specialize in. So it gives them that kind of edge so that, you're hired right on the spot. Again, just some names that, recognizable names and logos that I think many of y'all have been shocked from these brands. So you would know about most of these right here. And another thing that we promote and we push for is, as students, okay, y'all come with very, very creative ideas. Y'all come with great ideas, but it's only an idea if it's not executed. Okay, when you do execute that idea, it's still just prototype, okay, of what you thought. So what happens is that thank you. So what happens is that at ISDI, we want you to not only execute that idea, but also push it out to the market and get it to everyone. Okay, so if you create a great product, okay, for example, just because a product is easy to market and it's fairly easier to explain. So if you create a great product, okay, once it's created, we help you get in touch with companies, we help you get in touch with investors, we help you get in touch with people who'd be able to take it to the market. And of course, we help you patent it as well through ISDI. So what happens is that once you get an investor, you can actually get it to a company like a Philips or another larger company which mass produce it, and you'd have your product out there for the market. You'd probably go to one of these stores and see, hey, that I made that product and it's being sold so successfully. And that's happened with our students as well. So that's the kind of ideation to execution is and support that we give out at ISDI. So you need to understand that once you have an idea, we help you create that idea into a proper business prototype as well. And it just helps you also in your ideation stages. Just some of the accolades that we've received. Of course, these are you'd see it on the news as well, the Economic Times, the Economist, and it just helps us. It gives us again that endorsement saying that we're on the right track and we're creating a good impact on students. But just very quickly, I'm going to take you through how you can be a part of the ISDI family. It is through the ISDI challenge, which is the unique selection process, okay, to get into ISDI. We're only taking merit-based applications. We only have merit-based applications. There are no there are no reservations. Okay, the applications have opened. They've opened since the 1st of October, and they close very, very soon. Okay, they close on the 31st of this month. So you have about 7 days. Yes, it's the 24th right now. About 7 days to put your application in. Okay, we may not have another round. We do also offer scholarships based on merit and need based. Of course, that is as a part of your application process, which you know more once you complete these 4 steps. The first step is, of course, you have to go on the ISDI website, which is www.isdi.in, and you submit the online application form with your statement of purpose. Okay, there is a topic. Your statement of purpose will just tell us more about why you want to choose design and how does that drive you. What do you feel about design and what made you take that decision? The second step is you upload your portfolio. I'm sure all of you all, as a part of you all have already made your portfolio, and if in case you all don't have a portfolio or want to submit something else, you can complete the design challenge. Okay, now the design challenge is again a very, very simple question that we ask you, and you just explain that. It's all there in the application form, right? The third step is the design aptitude test. Now, for this is the very basic multiple choice based question paper. Very simple. It won't take you much time to complete, and you don't have to really study hard. We do have sample papers available online, so you can go through it before you give this test, so that you just know what's going to be asked or some similar questions that could be asked. The fourth, of course, is my favorite, is the personal interview round. Okay. This may seem daunting, all of these four steps, but we do also have the different sessions on every Wednesday, where we hold how you can crack the ISDI challenge, where we give you a couple of hacks and just help you understand better how you can give the ISDI challenge. We'll be having it in the next 3 days as well. So you can look out on the Instagram channel and be updated with all of this. But in any case, you can reach out to us also if you have any if you're stuck anywhere or you have any questions. You have to visit the ISDI website to complete the application form. These are some key dates that, like I was talking about. 1st of October we started the applications. 31st October is when we close. Okay, we're not going beyond that, and you'll have your interview post that in the next month, and the results will be announced on the 6th of December. Okay, so make sure you take a quick screenshot of this slide so that you understand and you can plan out everything that you need if you're applying to ISDI. Okay. With that being said, you can reach out to us on the ISDI Instagram channel. We're very, very active on Instagram. You can reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to take any and every question. Okay, do not worry about what it is, how it is. Reach out to us. In case you're not comfortable with Instagram, you can reach out to us on our helpline number also, which is on this slide. You can call us on the help desk, or you can call us on the admissions website, or you can email us on the admissions page. But then again, I would tell you it's best and it's easiest to go on the Instagram page because it's the fastest way of communicating. Okay, so that's it from me. I'm done taking up all of your mind space as of now. We're gonna have Uttam, so I was gonna do a great workshop with you guys, and I hope you'll really, really have fun and you'll enjoy yourselves. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Uttam sir.
Thanks so much, Krish. Nice, very interesting development to see that that ISDI has now moved to I'm saying KBC, but to BKC.
Yes.
So very interesting to see that change. I think that's something new, and like you said, BKC is amazing.
Yeah.
So for students who are interested, please, you all can also go on DQ Edge and get the right information there. And if you do connect with ISDI, do let them know that you're from DQ Labs. All right, sure. Right, sir. Over to you, Professor Uttam. Go on.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's great to see 72 people on a Sunday morning. Amazing. There are a few questions also coming up in the chat, so I believe Dion or Krish, you would be catering to those. Meanwhile, I'll just quickly share my screen here. Okay, let me know when my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible. You can go ahead.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone. I'm Professor Uttam Kumar, and I am from the team of communication design in ISDI Mumbai. And the story, the history has already been shared with you. So it's been quite a long journey, and the best part is the interaction with the students. So today, when I was given this opportunity to interact with the students and talk a little bit about illustration in graphic design, I was like, okay, that's an amazing topic to talk about with the students. A very quick, just to get an overview, what stage are these students in? Are they in the beginning of their preparatory time with DQ Labs, or are they looking to just venture out into design colleges? What stage are they in?
So these are students from all across.
Okay.
Maybe some in class 11, some in class 12. They are it could be architecture, design, or fashion.
Okay.
and some of the parents are here as well.
All right. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. That's good because my presentation is pretty broad in the sense that I was assuming that some people may not be aware of this thing at all, and some could be somewhat exposed because of their training now. So I just tried to make a mix of it so that it's beneficial for everyone. So let's get started. Let's start with addressing the what. So what exactly is illustration? I don't know if the students have uh, the facility or the ability or the privileges to unmute. Maybe they can put their answers in the chat.
They
I'll also
can,
be they
yeah,
can.
they can raise their hand and unmute and speak if
All
you ask
right.
a question, or
Okay.
they could also chat. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So guys, anyone wants to give it a shot? What is illustration? What is our understanding of illustration? Even if it's a basic one, you wanna quickly give it a shot? Anyone?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So it's a drawing from imagination or by creative thinking.
Okay. So that's Anant, right? Anant Kaushik?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Anand. Great. It's drawing from imagination and creative thinking. Uh, that's something that we all feel when we are looking at illustration as a subject. And there are others also. Bilasha says to visually interpret a concept. Akanksha says conveying an idea pictorially, which is quite close. Anyone else wants to quickly try something? Illustration is a composition from imagination. Amulya says that. Anyone else?
So creating a virtual background in films and videos.
Yes, creative virtual backgrounds. So these are all elements of illustration when we do this activity. What we need to also understand is the purpose of illustration. What is illustration? Why do we illustrate? All right, so that's another important area. Veda says express your thoughts through a single frame. Aditya says, it just went up. Aditya says pictorial representation of idea or concept. Rion says visual depiction. All right, so let's just go back, to what the dictionary meaning of illustration is. So the dictionary meaning of illustration, to illustrate is a verb. To illustrate means that we explain something with examples, charts, or pictures, or drawings, or a sketch, right? So this is the bottom line. This is the bottommost. This is the basic definition of the word illustrate. The act of illustrating is called illustration. So this is where straight away the part design starts coming in. We have to first understand what is really needed to be communicated. And that's when we start illustrating. Now, a very common example here is when your friend is not able to understand the directions you're giving to them, like go here, go there. If you want to go from point A to point B, your friend is not getting it. You just pick up a paper and say, okay, this is where we are. This is where you have to go. And this is the path you have to take. And your friend immediately says, all right, yeah, I get it. All right. So that's the power of illustration. What words cannot explain, illustration can help us understand that idea very, very quickly. Now, we need to understand a little bit about when did mankind figure out that illustration is a great idea? Because even my 10-year-old children, when I'm not getting their ideas, and sometimes I do it purposely because I want them to, just work a little harder in making things, clearer to me, they'll pick a paper and start writing on it. They'll pick a paper and show me, this is how it is. Or they'll get something around them and show it to me, just to illustrate the idea. So the origins from where we actually got this inherent nature of illustrating the idea is it goes way back 15,000 years, before Christ, apparently, when we didn't even have any way of communicating. We were not talking at that point. The verbal communication was not there at that point. And the only way mankind was communicating was either through gestures or by visual observation. So this was the time, and I'm talking about the Stone Age, the cave paintings, they were made so that the ideas could be communicated to future generations, or they could be again explained or seen or learned from. because there are a lot of things that you cannot learn before you're going on the field or before you're venturing out into the dangerous world. So people who are actually going out, they'll come back and draw those stories, what happened today, because they can't communicate, they can't talk, right? So they are drawing these and others can see, and they have a visual representation of what is it that is out there. Inside the cave, you're only seeing two-legged people. Outside, there are four-legged creatures, So how do you understand? How do you understand the world outside? Illustration started back then. So literally, before we started communicating, before we started talking, before we started formally educating, people were already communicating using these illustrations by way of drawings and cave paintings. Even India has quite a few older cave paintings. If you've been to one of those historical sites, you can see them. This is the inherent nature of mankind. We want to keep a record of what is going on. In today's world, we call it journaling, right? We write every day what happened during the day, what are we feeling, how can things be improved, what could I have done better. In the olden days, the thinking wasn't so developed yet, but at least they could still document the events. So that's where the origins are. So by far, we are talking about the oldest mode of communication the mankind has known. Fast forward today, people are still using advertising as one of the biggest medium with which people, companies, organizations, groups are communicating with each other. What we are doing on social media is nothing but micro level advertising. We are advertising our work by showcasing that. So let's quickly analyze what type of brands and how brands are exploiting this art of illustration to connect with their audience better. I think this will help setting the contexts right for us, and we'll not just see it as a tool, we'll see it as an essential tool to communicate with our clients. So I think one of the most commonly known brands to all of us will be would be the Amul. This Amul girl has apparently not grown up since I was a child, but it has managed to survive the tough times, and it has adapted, it has evolved, and slowly it has turned into something that tells us what is happening around us these days. So they'll make these meme formatted, or you can say the pun format kind of advertisements that are all across. My kids love it. Actually, my kids, every day, the moment they wake up, they come in, they want to grab the newspaper. I want to see what is in this, what is in the Amul, what is the Amul girl saying today. So brands are using illustration to communicate with the audience. It's a very, very catchy way of working with it. Now, this is an actual project that one of my ex-students did. Apparently, she's running an advertising agency now, and this is all hand-drawn, and this was for Starbucks Calcutta, wherein they wanted to have a feel of like a hand. They wanted to have a hand-drawn, illustrated feel to their interiors. So the interior designing team apparently collaborated with the communication design team, and they came up with this idea of a wall mural. And this is all hand painted. Even the one on the left hand side where you see water, all those things written there, the amenities, everything is hand drawn. And illustration collaborating with interior design, that's one of the things that we understand as designers, as practitioners, that design does not happen in isolation. It happens with collaboration. Okay, and that's one of the things that our curriculum also highlights quite a bit. Trish very, very efficiently mentioned that the first year is the time when the students get a taste of every discipline. Its first year is not product design, truck communication design, or film or anything. Every student has to go through the same funnel in the first year because they need to understand design as a discipline. Then year 2, year 3, year 4, they are we're specializing in that field. They're learning the core tips and tricks and tools of the trade, but they also need to see design as a discipline and where the practice is and how things are working on what is happening in other design disciplines. Because you could be like myself, who studied architecture and then went on to do visual effects and industrial design and eventually get into teaching. So today I'm able to communicate with a lot more students from different design disciplines just based on my experience, and not because I've just studied one stream of design. Here's another example. I'm not too sure if the animation is visible of it or it's too jerky, but we've all seen it. We all go to Google at some point or the other during our day, because that's kind of like the way to uh, find information. Uh, you guys have grown up in the age of Google. So Google came up with this idea of Google Doodle. And Doodle is nothing but another way to illustrate. It's promoted as a casual way of illustrating, but definitely it's one of the most effective ways of communicating fun and creative ideas. So these big brands, these big players in the market, they are using illustration to communicate with the students. They are using illustration to connect with them because they know this is what grabs the attention quickly and effectively. Here are some of the other brands that we sometimes engage with. This is the time of customization. So everybody wants to have their own customized solutions. So Ed Hardy, Toastmate, Chumbak is a big brand now. It started it. We've been fortunate enough to see that the evolution of this brand and almost becoming a household name now. They're also using illustration and putting it on different exploring different ideas with illustration, because that's what people like now. They want to have a customized solution, something that they can call their own. Are we good? Are we just are we understanding what I'm saying? Does anybody want to say anything? So Arvind says logos seen in tourist spot like zoo, trekking, hiking, swimming park, everywhere. It's everywhere. This is what grabs the attention. If we put a picture in these spots, very rightly said, Arvind, if instead of putting illustration, if we put pictures, they'll tend to merge into the background and people will not spot it. When we are illustrating them, we are stripping them of the non-essential things and only retaining the most essential part that the audience wants to see, and that's what grabs their attention. And even in a cluttered background, we are easily able to see a road signage. We are easily able to see the directions. We are easily able to see the instructions that they want us to grab. Even when we're traveling at 120 miles an hour speed on a freeway, the road signs are still grabbing our attention. Why? Because they've been stripped off all the details that we see in real world, and only the essential detail is kind of kept there, so that that's what we want to see. We see it that way only. Next time you're going on a highway, just pay close attention to how have they made these road signs, especially when there are a lot of diversions. They will be actually using color coding. So when you see the color, the direction, the color of the direction on the very first instruction board, the next instruction board that you see 500 meters down the lane, you by default will follow the color that you saw last time. You will not really again look through the whole list of instructions that are given. If in the first instance the instruction given to you was yellow in color, next time your brain will automatically take you to the yellow color, and you won't even read what is written next, what else is written there. I love that you merge illustration with any other interest that seems related at first. I mean, this is the way people are exploring, not just medical, Abhilasha. There's botanical illustration, which is actually one of the oldest professions. If you happen to just go to YouTube and search for botanical illustrations, there are people who are actually doing this illustration work, which is primarily considered more artistic. They are actually helping research work, document those new species of the plant or a flower that is discovered. And all of that needs to go in the textbooks. How do they do it? They don't put pictures there, because pictures, when they are printed, they lose a lot of quality and information. They are still going in as illustration. Bakeries, cafes, cafe shops, cake shops, exactly. Anywhere you go, illustration is a meme which it seems very playful. The moment I see an illustration, I automatically get into that playful mode. I'm not serious anymore. Even if I'm talking about something very serious as COVID or finding a job or Skillshare, where I'm trying to go and learn to upgrade myself. they're all using illustration. Insurance companies, car sale companies, they're all using illustrations. Why? Because the moment you use illustration, it becomes a very playful medium, and people are not thinking of these as a serious way. They are saying, all right, yeah, we are just, this is just fun. So the way you connect with your audience becomes a lot more easier. Bakeries, cafes, shops, showrooms, yes, Arvind, everybody, everywhere else. Now, I'm sure when you'll walk out into for shopping now, you will be definitely looking at these examples. Now, illustration is really one uh, part of the whole scheme of the whole design disciplines. What are the typical projects that illustrators would be doing apart from these shop fronts? And these are more mainstreams which have been commercialized, but there are some other projects which illustrators and communication designers have been doing for ages, and the oldest one being book cover designs and magazine illustrations. They have been there ever since, not just now, but the oldest, because book publication happened way before illustration was even recognized as a proper field. It was just a field that was able to help the book, communicate the ideas. And also book illustrations, magazine, the example that you're seeing in the middle, the black paper, is called a book jacket. The book jacket is the cover that is on top of the hardcover of a book that usually comes out also, but that's something that's upgradable from one edition to the other. So book jackets, book cover, inside the magazines, the illustrations, these have been some of the oldest ways of communicating. Yes, some examples that we are seeing now with the brands coming into picture, they are also getting into illustration. They're using illustration. We are seeing a packaging example here. Every brand needs to package its products before it goes to the audience, if its clients. Even when you're picking it from the shop front, you're not ordering online. Sometimes we feel that packaging is all about online. No, when you buy something from a shop, from right off the counter, there also you're seeing a lot of stuff, a lot of information being communicated to you. And the way you see the way you see a product is being packaged, it conveys a meaning to the audience, a means to communicate, a means to connect with the audience. That's the beauty of illustration. So here we are seeing an example of packaging, where illustration is being used to communicate the ideas. Yes, they can be used in animation, they can be used in infographics. Aditya, Abhilasha, yeah, some great points. Arvind, some really, really great points you're bringing in. So guys, do follow chat. There are people contributing. I'll encourage you also to contribute. I don't mind if anybody just unmutes, interrupts, and you get these ideas, and just share it with the rest of the cohort. Identity design is a bit more on the core side of communication design, and illustration there again is being used. Identity design is the way with which the clients identify themselves with a company or with a brand. Okay, now brand is basically a set of values. That's what we call a brand. When we say Reebok, when we say Nike, when we say Apple, we are talking about an emotion. We are talking about the values that company stands for. When I say Apple, there are certain predefined things you keep in mind. When I say Nike, there are a few predefined ideas that come into your mind. When I say Puma, when I say Fossil, when I say Philips, there are certain things that come to your mind because of that association with brand. Identity is a visual thing. Identity is how you look at something and you identify that this is the brand we are talking about. So this is the other side of the coin, where people relate to a brand visually. All right. A very typical example will be the just do it, like the tick for the Nike. They don't need to write Nike now. They don't need to write, even just do it. Just the tick tells me, or just the three stripes in Adidas. They tell me this is what we are talking about. So this is something where the communication designers in general will use illustration to strip off the noise and just retain the core values into the identity that people can relate. The Apple icon does not need the word Apple or anything written there. Whereas if you look at the first Apple logo in 1984 when Macintosh was released, they would do the Apple logo and the Macintosh was written below it because they wanted people to relate to it. Very slowly, things start getting stripped off, and we are just looking at a graphic and we know what we're looking at, what we're talking about. It's a way of branding. It's a way of connecting with your audience now. So again, the list kind of goes on. Illustration is something that is going to communicate with your audience. Even when you look at the packaging that's right in the middle, you would tend to sense that this is more of an organic vegetables that we are looking at just by the use of the color and the way they are showing the natural elements, muted color palettes. They're doing all these tricks on our mind because now designers would understand the psychology of the audience, how they are reading information, how they're consuming information, what kind of news are they reading, what are they reading about this brand. So what kind of graphics will communicate better with them is something that is clearly known to the audience and to the designers. And then they're able to connect with them at the right time in the correct fashion. It's not noisy at all. It's very minimal and very to the point. Arvind says McDonald's, Zomato, Domino's, Decathlon. Yes, business spots everywhere. Everywhere these methods are being used. So what are the essential skills that you need to know, to practice illustration or to use illustration or to learn illustration? What are the essential skills? Now, I just want to quickly connect with you here and ask you, are there any questions coming up in your mind as of now, till now? Do we have any, or do you want to share any pointers or any insights at this point? Anyone? Are you all with me? Are you able to follow along? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? All okay? Maybe you can just do a thumbs up. All right,
Yes,
Mansi
sir, we
Gupta
can follow.
says she's able to follow along. All right, Aditya, do illustration need to be word smart? Well, if that's the need, yes, that is how you will be working, but you also need to figure out the purpose of it. If that helps you connect with the audience, definitely go for it. If you think it's not required, don't go for it. All right. Are there any principles required for illustration, Anand? Yes, we'll be talking a bit about that. More detail, of course, is covered in the curriculum itself. But in the next slides, I'll be covering some broad skills with some links to some resources that you can follow along if you're already, if you've already done the beginner level and you want to up your game a little bit, or if you want to just step up your understanding about about this industry or this tool a little bit, you can do that. I'll be sharing certain links later on. But let's just get you guys to work now, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce an activity that we're going to be doing in 5 minutes. Okay. Do all of us have access to a paper and a pencil? All of us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So grab your paper, grab your pencil or a pen, or try to have something that can help you draw a circle, maybe a 10 rupee coin that's big enough, or the lid of like a bottle or a box. You can use it because I'll be drawing something in a circle and then I'll be asking you to do something and demonstrate that. All right. And this activity will be 5 minutes, so don't spend too much time. If you just have a pen and a paper, that's fine. You can just draw a circle freehand. It doesn't matter. I don't want to see whether you can draw perfect circles or not. Nobody can draw a perfect circle. But just while I'm answering some of these questions in the chat, just grab a piece of pen and a piece of paper and a pen. One A4 size is good, and a 10 rupee coin if you can. Otherwise, just draw a circle. We need to draw around 10 circles. Okay, so there's a question here. Question from Shailesh. Is it possible for someone to do graphic design and then jump to game design industry? You see, Shailesh, most of the times the students will come with this idea of doing everything by themselves. Whereas as a professional, you would actually be becoming a part of what we refer to as a production pipeline. All right. Think of a car, car manufacturing unit. Does everybody know how to assemble the whole car, or does the people know how to do their part of the job, like tightening this bolt enough so it doesn't come out. All right. Even the robotic arms in a production pipeline or an assembly pipeline, each robotic arm just knows how to do one particular function and not do uh, the whole car assembly. So uh, what we do when we are trying to get into game industry as a graphic designer, it really depends on what our interests are and what our strengths are. The game industry would require a variety of people. They'll require coding people. Just 1 second, Arvind, we have to draw around 10 circles. So the gaming industry people will require people who can code so that the users can interact. They'll require people who can do animation. They'll require people who can create those words, in that game. They require people who can make individual assets for that world, so the whole world can be assembled together. They will require people who can put colors or materials on those assets, or those props, or those bricks, or those those weapons that you see in a game. They require people who can make the environment feel in a particular way. I'm referring to the renderers. So and before that, they require people who can actually visualize these things. So yeah, rightly said, Abhilasha, we require concept artists, we require people who can draw, we require people who can visualize, and we require people who can present it nicely so that the ideas are communicated. A concept artist may not be great at drawing, but they might have amazing visualization or imagination, that when my director says, I need a sword, I wanted to design a sword that does a particular thing, they'll quickly draw, but they don't know how to draw it cleanly. That's where a graphic designer or an illustrator might come in. That illustrator may not be as imaginative as the concept artist is, but they can take that quick sketch and they can make it look pretty and present it in the way that the idea comes across neatly. So all these things are needed. Even people who are storyboarding artists, they are also needed, because even for a game, you make something called a storyboard. Like, how is the game progressed? The same thing happens for films also. The same thing happens for anything. These days, people have become so planned that you would want to do an event flow for anything. Even for something like this, even our team met beforehand and we kind of rehearsed. What is it that is going to happen? So Krish knew what part he had to do. I know what part I have to do in this presentation. So everybody is contributing into the whole overall scheme of things. So to answer your question, Shailesh, yes, you can jump from one industry to the other. It depends what are your interests and where is your portfolio very strong, so that the industry also feels comfortable in hiring you. I'll give you a common example. When I graduated as an architect, and I started doing stuff in 3D animation and some visual effects also. When I'll approach a company, they'll typically hire me for backgrounds. I would invariably get offered background artist, environment artist. Why? Because they felt that being an architect and being able to construct these worlds in 3D gives me that rare combination where I also understand architecture. I'm also well exposed to the language that architecture uses, and I also have the ability to construct things in 3D. That's a good combination for an environmental artist. So they will be like, okay, you can be an environment, you can be a background artist in our game, whatever company, or in the film or in the animation, wherever I would go, it would eventually come to this. They'll really want to hire me as an architect who can do stuff with buildings. So that will directly relate to the environment. All right. So opportunities are there. If you wish to learn graphic design and jump to game design, make sure your portfolio shows that kind of thing towards the end of your 3-year or 4-year journey with the college. And then that should not be a problem. Yes, you can transfer to anything. All right. Design is a way of solving problems. It's not a way of just doing one kind of job. All right. I hope that answers your question, Shailesh. Anyone else has any questions? What do we have to draw, sir? Okay, so Arvind, we have to draw 10 circles. Have you drawn 10 circles? How many of you are participating? Maybe you can just raise your hand so I know that there are these people participating. Okay, all right. A lot of hands being raised. Okay, almost everyone participating here. Okay, so have we drawn 10 circles? I believe people who have raised their hands, they have drawn 10 circles. Okay, all right, a lot of hands, more hands coming up. Okay, draw 10 circles about the size of a 10 rupee coin. Okay, all drawn. Stefan, okay, drawn. Akash, yes, sir. Abhilasha, yes. Arvind, yes. Nandini, yes. Okay, so 10 circles are drawn. All right, so I'm gonna set a timer of a minute now. Let's set it to 2 minutes because we're doing it online, so there's a bit of a lag there. Okay, Sahiti, Anjali, all right, great. It's great that everybody's ready. So I'm gonna set a timer of 2 minutes, and in that 2 minutes, you'll try to make something in those circles as fast as you can, as many circles as you want to fill. If you reach the 10 circles, actually, because there are 10 circles, let's keep it 1 minute only. Once you reach if you reach the end of 10 circles, all right, draw more circles and start drawing. Let's see how many circles can you fill up with relevant forms in a minute. Now, one of the example I can give you is anything that you think is circular in the world. All right, you can think of any shape, anything, and draw in that, as long as it's circular. All right, you can be creative with your ideas. In the end, I'll request you to turn on your cameras and show it. Okay, so I'm turning my timer on 1 minute now.
So do you just scribble something, or does it have to mean does it have to mean something like something in real life, or like in abstract art or something like that? Or
don't do anything abstract. Try retaining to that form factor of circle. There needs to be some limitation to what we are doing, right? So the constraint is circle. It has to have some meaning.
okay.
Should we just draw inside the circle? Ananya, the choice is with you, your call. So do we scribble something, or does it have to have a meaning, Stephen? We've already answered that question. Okay, we have about 25 seconds left. About 25, 20. Ten seconds, 8 seconds. Okay, time up, stop. Okay, can you all turn on your camera and show what all you've done? Then I'll try to have a look at it, and I'll randomly ask some of you to show what you've done. Maybe you can explain. Can we have our cameras on, please, if you're comfortable? Hi, Akanksha. Hi, Anant. Okay, you did 2 circles, Anant. Akanksha, can you show? Hi, Abhilasha. Anant. Yeah, okay, Anant, I've seen what you've drawn. All right, Akanksha has done 5 circles. Akanksha, you want to explain what have you done in those circles? Stefan, okay, I can see it. Abhilasha, yes, I see your circles. Akanksha, you want to quickly explain what all have you done in those 5 circles? If you're able to unmute.
Yes, sir. The earth, the coin, a balloon, a cap, and a bowl.
Okay, great. Veda, would you want to quickly take tell me what have you done?
Yeah, sure. So I basically did the earth. I did an animal face.
Okay.
I did a spiral and a 10 rupee coin and a mug.
Okay.
And a cross and an exclamation.
Okay. Exclamation is never in a circle. Cross is in a circle. Yes. No parking signs are all in a circle, but exclamation is always triangular because a pointed edge kind of triggers a little bit of alarm in our head. The smooth edge of a circle makes us very comfortable, right? Abhilasha, what have you done? You showed briefly.
Oh yes, so the first one I just drew like a teddy bear inside because that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay.
Second one is kind of like a firefly with light.
Okay.
Third one is a bubble, and the fourth one is a sunset.
Okay, Nandini, how about you? What have you done?
I've done a 10 rupee coin, a medal, a token, a
Mhm.
stop sign thing, and a bubble.
Okay, all
And
right.
a bowling ball.
Bowling ball. All right, Ananya, what have you done? 1 rupee coin, rupee coin, alien. You've got an alien ship also there. What else is there? A devil and wheels, right? That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, anyone else wants to show? Anyone else wants to show what they've done? Aditya, what have you drawn? A basketball. You'll have to just mention it. I think the blur filter is blurring out the paper.
Oh wait,
Just
okay.
yeah. No worries.
Um,
Just tell me what have you drawn.
yeah, I drew a wheel, binoculars, infinity sign, and a marble and a basketball.
How did you do the binoculars?
I just joined two circles.
Precisely. So that's what I was looking for. Like uh, the whole idea of working with the circle was not just to look at the circle as an individual entity. You could look at two circles and think of what can I draw with two circles, with two eyes. All right, I can see Amulya has also done specs by combining two circles. There's some sunny form, there's a kitty, there's a pizza, makes me hungry already. Sunday mood. There's orange. There's a teddy, I
Sir,
believe.
I have,
Sorry.
sir, I also have drawn.
All right, Arvind. Yes, I'll come back to. Maybe you can just put it up. Amulya, great work. Yes, Arvind. Okay, it's too bright. Maybe you can mention what you've drawn. Not able to see that.
Yes, sir. Sir, in one circle, I have drawn an elephant.
Okay.
And in second circle, I have drawn a polo, a game.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And the third circle, I draw a pizza with mustache, a cartoon pizza. Then in fourth circle, one ghost.
Okay.
Fifth circle, one dog.
Okay.
And in sixth one, a ship harbor.
Okay. All right. So really, I'm sure others would have also tried a few things. Great attempt there, guys. The whole idea is to understand the problem that is given to us now. So when I gave you that brief, I introduced a little bit of noise in my brief, things that are going to mislead you. All right. Why? Because when a designer is talking to a potential client and they're talking to they're trying to understand what the client really wants, the client will share 20,000 ideas with them, and there'll be a lot of noise that's going to distract you. The designer has to strip off that noise and boil it down to what the client really needs, and try to see what is the point. If I hit the nail there, the problem is going to crack. All right. So that is how designers work. So I misled you by saying that you have to draw something inside the circle. All right. And most of us had that preconception of just drawing within that circle. Now we could draw outside the circle. Somebody asked me also, Ananya asked me whether you can draw outside the circle. So whenever any brief is given, we need to see whether we need to follow it as it is, or we are able to jump from point A to point B, which is the starting point of a problem and the solution of the problem, by eliminating that noise without having to follow the path that the client expects me, but I can straight away give them the solution to that. All right. So that's where the creative thinking, that's where the experience of a designer kind of comes into picture. Typically, if you go to a designer and the designer say, I'll design within, I'll give you a solution within 10 minutes. And there's a designer that says, I'll take a month to design. Typically, the one who's doing it in 10 minutes will be charging you more, because they're putting in their experience, their knowledge, and they know that this is what you want. Somebody who is doing 1 month will probably keeping a lot more time in back and forth, right? Because they know that the problem needs to be solved over a period of time after understanding things more and more. So that's where the problem solving part kind of comes in. let me just quickly jump back to my presentation. If you really want to explore this activity further, somebody said interesting activity, Aditya, it's actually there online. If you go to a website called IDA, there is an activity called 30 circles challenge. You can even search for 30 circles challenge. The idea is you set yourself a timer of 2 minutes and you try to fill in these 30 circles, as many of them as possible. And one of the tricks that you can use is combining the circle. Other trick you can use is don't draw pretty things. Forget about erasing anything. Just draw. Okay, the ideas are there in your head. Just keep drawing. Don't try to beautify it. When you're running against time, you don't make beautiful work. You make work that communicates effectively. All right. So the idea is to fill as many circles with relevant circular information. So yes, spectacles, planets, smileys. You could have done smileys also. The emojis. You can do wheels. You can do coins, you can do ball. But then if you've done one ball, you don't need to do 20 balls, because football, soccer ball, different types of balls doesn't make any sense. All right. Yes, you can do bicycle, you can do car wheels, you can do aeroplane there, anything that's got wheels there. You can do emojis, you can do spectacles, things that have two. You can even do eyes, like draw outside them, so that becomes the eyeball. Many things you can do. Yes, Arvind, you can do emojis. You can think of a circle as somebody did an orange, like a sliced orange or a pizza. Now, the beauty of this will be if you do this activity every day, if every day you take that sheet with 30 empty circles, set yourself a timer of 2 minutes, you will see that over a period of time, your understanding of looking at shapes improves. All right. You can look for 30 circles challenge, Ishani. It will automatically take you to that website, but I think the website name is ID8. Okay. Abhilasha Caterpillar, by combining many circles. It's really up to you. You can do a toy train, make those circles, combine them with a link, and then put different teddies in there. So so can you please, Arvind? Okay, just search for 30 circles challenge. You'll find it. Or after, when we're doing Q&A, I'll try finding that link. You'll find it. You can do tape recorder. Yes, anything that has 2 circles, 3 circles, 4 circles. You can even do like a fidget spinner if you want to do that way. Combining 3 circles in a triangle. You can do IDEO. Yes, not ID8. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Shreya, for sharing that link. IDEO. And this has got a lot of content on how do you think creatively. All right. And this is one organization that has put creative thinking as one of the central core pillars of their philosophy. Okay, so I'm moving forward with my screen. Okay, let me just push this aside. Now, here are the essential skills you need. Now, this is where you can take a screenshot of it. Problem solving and critical thinking. Just a quick word about critical thinking. Critical thinking doesn't mean that you have to think negatively. You have to think critically, meaning you think what is going to work, what is not going to work. If something can be improved, how can that be improved? That's what critical thinking means. And all these skills are an essential part of the curriculum that the student studies, during the first year. Critical thinking is encouraged. The brief in our first year studies are actually not even defined. The students are just left in the open to explore. They can explore in any direction just to open up their minds. So an eye for color, you need to start working with colors so that you can illustrate better. I mean, yes, there are illustrators who do illustrate black and white, only just line drawings, but having color in there definitely makes things more playful, easy to understand. Visual aesthetics, understanding of visual aesthetics, understand how composition works, how forms are working, how lights, shades, shadows are working, how are objects fitting together. Is this looking balanced? There are some design principles that work on our mind when we are looking at anything. So these are some of the core areas that we would work on with you in your first year, when you're learning your drawing skills, imaging skills, and your thinking skills in your studios and seminars and all those subjects. Perspective drawing is an important skill to have. If you're able to communicate on paper, that's also good. If you remember, I gave an example. There are concept artists who may not be able to draw effectively in Illustrator. Doesn't matter, as long as you can visualize on paper, it's a perfect skill to have. Drawing, sketching, of course, is applicable to all design disciplines, be it product, fashion, anything. Perspective drawing is essential because if you can draw in perspective, that gives a good visualization to the audience, like what they are really talking about. Photography is an additional skill that you can have. It's a plus. It's not a requirement, but it's a plus because it takes you through those ideas of composition, framing, juxtaposition, everything. So some industry standard softwares you can explore would be Adobe, uh, the biggest company that provides industry standard suits. Their creative suite is the best one you can go with. Just explore. You can go to their websites also and learn quite a bit. So they have Photoshop for photo editing. For illustration, you have Adobe Illustrator, which can help you learn and explore. Then there are layout tools like InDesign, and animation tools or VFX tools like After Effects, or XD is generally for UX and UI. You get to learn these as you get into your specializations. But as a starting point for illustration, probably Adobe Illustrator is what you can explore. We do take care of it. Of course, the students spend extensive time learning it. These skills is where basically we come in. There are some other options. If you're on iPad, you can use Procreate, or Affinity Designer is also a nice software. CorelDRAW, Inkscape. You can look at these options and see which one works best. The idea is just to have the ideas clear in your head first, so that we can take things forward and then polish your skills. And skills is something we can teach. That's where we come in. Here are some resources you can look at. You can quickly take a screenshot of this and maybe later on explore these on YouTube, Pinterest, Behance, Twitter, websites. Design Tuts Plus is my personal favorite. A lot of tutorials, a lot of resources on design, illustration you can find in there. Just quickly take a screenshot of it. Okay, there are some things in chat. Is sculpting and 3D modeling there? Yes, sculpting and 3D modeling is required, but it's for specific requirement. The students do get exposed to 3D because it's a great way of visualizing what you have on paper. So 3D and sculpting and even 3D printing, I remember Krish mentioning that the students always have something there. Some students don't like to see things in a virtual screen. They like to see things in reality. So they would want to make prototypes either with clay or in 3D printing. Yeah, some people have seen Jaza and Proco. Yeah, I mean, Nandini, Anant, you're on the right track. Just follow these. The FZD is amazing. It's a concept artist called Feng Zhu. He's a Singaporean artist, and he does design cinema on YouTube, which is where he's actually doing concept. He actually does concept art. Feng Zhu is apparently one of the youngest concept artists in the team for Star Wars. So he's like an amazing. His way of working is amazing. He also has a concept art school in Singapore. Jaza, yes, his videos, his workflow is very interesting. I've been following Jaza for almost 6-7 years now. So now he's diversified into other areas also. So yeah, follow along. I'm sure there'll be many more artists or anyone you can follow. Yeah, so we're already entering into more like a question and answer. If you have any questions, any other questions, I can see there are a lot of questions coming in. I've seen Artist Network. Yes, Artist Network is an amazing place. They also have some great learning resources available there. You can go there and see. Even if you Artist Network will actually explore different mediums as well. So those of you who are looking into acrylic or watercolor or charcoal, or not just pencil, you have mediums like those. Artist Network has this weekly live stream on YouTube. I think it happens on Wednesday. What time? I don't know. It's called Drawing Together. So there an artist will actually take a live setting and they would draw it along with you, and they'll share their process with you, and you can do it with them also. All right. So it's called Drawing Together. Amazing activity. Adobe Max is on right now. You can join that. That is also a great way to see what is in store for us. from these technological companies. Anyone having any questions? Dion, maybe if you are getting questions from the students, please feel free to put them across.
I think, yeah, so I'm monitoring YouTube as well. So there's no more questions coming in from YouTube. But we've also reached 10:30. So if anyone has a last question, they could ask it now. Otherwise, we can end. All right.
Yeah, making me stop is always a challenge. You know? Teachers, especially design teachers, when they start talking, stopping them is a challenge.
Oh no, but it's always a pleasure to listen to you guys, and I think today has been a very insightful, useful, and practical session, and interactive as well. So fantastic, Professor Uttam. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do such a wonderful webinar with our students, and hope that many of them have the chance to consider illustration, or like you mentioned, um, illustration is, I mean, so design is so interdisciplinary that you being an architect working in illustration, and have uh, some level of study in industrial design as well. So it's amazing to see that diversity in an individual designer. That's amazing. I don't know if Vriti has any question to ask.
Yeah, she raised her hand. Vriti,
Yeah.
you have any question?
No, sir. This was regarding the previous.
All right. This one, Abhilasha is saying she can connect with me. Abhilasha, you can look for my name, or just go to ISDI, or just connect with the answer. He'll help you with your questions. Okay, just push your questions to him once this session ends, and he'll be happy to connect all those questions to us, and we'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, yeah, right now is the time. If you want to just have a quick question, I'll be happy to answer them now, Abhilasha.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Ananya, will it help us to improve creative thinking and ideation? Yes, the sooner you start thinking about it, the better. These are things that are lacking in our current education system. So you don't really get exposed to these unless you really go for an arts and craft class and all in, early in your school. So start thinking about it. We'll surely be challenging our students once they come on board and they're studying with us, because we assume that everybody's starting from point zero. But if you have a prior knowledge, it definitely gives you a head start, and you can actually perform better than the rest of them. It takes a little bit of conditioning. It's a skill. It's not a talent to think creatively. Okay, it's a skill which you need to train. Your brain is a muscle. You need to train it to think in that direction. All right. So the more creative exercises you do, the better you'll get at it. All right. Hope that answers your question, Ananya.
All right. And I think, that brings us to the end of the session. So thank you all for attending. And I was very happy to receive a message from Ms. Bulbul Chowdhury, who's one of the directors there. And she told me that yesterday, I think Deloitte had come and hired 15 students on day
15.
one of
Yeah.
placement. So that's amazing. And all the students have not completed yet. They have another 6 months to go. So
Yes.
that's amazing. I think the other change was that you're giving a BDes program this year, which is a massive change and a very positive vibe for everyone.
Yes, and in fact, the Atlas Caltech University is now listed on the UGC website. If you just go there and search for private universities, you'll find Atlas Caltech Universities there. It is also recognized by AIU, which is Association of Indian Universities. So even if somebody is from another university in the UK or something and they want to enroll with us, AIU will have our curriculum listed there. So that's also great. So later on, after doing your 4 years, if you want to do masters in another university from India, this BDes is going to be fully recognized because it's going to go through AIU.
Absolutely. So that's about it for today. And thank you all for attending and being so participative. And thanks to the ISDI team as well.
Thank you guys. You've been a wonderful audience and have a great weekend.